One of the questions that I get all the time is, what's wrong with me? And I think it's such an interesting question. It has this underlying assumption that there must be something wrong with me. Because if there wasn't, then why would I be experiencing the current pain that I'm going in? Why would my life be like this? Why would I be going through what I'm going through in my relationship or with my family? Or why would I be experiencing this turmoil in my career and my business? Or why is it that no matter what I do, I can't get the results that I want? And again, that carries this underlying assumption that there must be something inherently wrong with me. And before I just completely overcome this objection, I want to validate that you're not the only one that feels this way, that it's very common for people that are looking for a breakthrough in their life to get themselves out of a place of just feeling stuck, to have this assumption that there must be something wrong with me. And here's why I believe that is. Because you are an intelligent person. You have tried so many different things, and you have sought help professionally with coaches. You've gone through counseling. You've had therapists. You've been through workshops. You've gone to retreats. You've read books. You listen to podcasts. It's not from a lack of effort or trying that you're feeling this stuck state. It's because you truly believe that if all of these things work for everyone else, then why don't they work for me? And it's got to be, as you express to me as a coach so often, it's got to be because there's something wrong with me. And it's such a beautiful moment when I'm sitting with someone in my office or over Zoom or a phone call, when they come to this understanding that, oh my goodness, I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. Every single person that I get to work with, I have 3 beliefs about. And I think this is true of all human beings. The first belief is that every single person is born creative. You have within you the ability to create something different for your life, to change your circumstances, that you can do something that you've never done before, have something you've never had. You can be the person that you've never been. You have that creativity within you. Not only are you creative, but you're resourceful. You find a way. You go and make things happen. And the third, after creative and resourceful, is that you are whole. You're not broken. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. And here's how I know this. Because when we go through what I call the breakthrough session, where we spend about 4 or 5 hours together figuring out what it is that's holding you back, the common thread that I find through all of these sessions, I've done, at the time of this recording, it's the fall of 2023, I've done over 250 of these, 4 to 5 hours over the last 5 years, 250 of these breakthrough sessions. The common thread is this belief that there's something wrong with me. And when we figure out that there isn't anything wrong with you, there's just something that you've been holding on to up here, a belief, a decision that you made unconsciously that became rooted and became this part of your identity. Once we can understand that that one belief is what has been holding you back for so long and making you feel all of the negative emotions that come when we hold on to and give energy to our beliefs, then we can detach from it. We can de-identify. And once you're able to step away and dissociate from that belief, then those emotions are no longer tied there as well. And then you don't have any evidence to support that could be real. In fact, that feeling that you were experiencing, that belief that you had, was actually just an illusion. It wasn't who you truly are. Do you struggle to look at pictures of yourself? Like I sometimes do. I think everyone, they look at pictures of themselves and they're just like, I look terrible. That's not me. Well, that's because what you're used to seeing is yourself in the mirror. And what you're used to seeing is not you. It's a reflection of you. And when you're seeing a reflection of you, it's the inverse. You all can recognize that I have, thanks to my father, I have a crooked nose, and it goes one direction. It leans a little bit to one way. And when I see that in the mirror, it always looks the same. And then when I see it in a picture that someone has taken of me, it goes the other way. And I always say, man, that picture looks terrible. When in reality, that's how everyone else sees me. And what I'm seeing in the mirror is the flip of that, right? The inverse. I'm seeing the opposite. And it's not who I really am. We so often are seeing things about ourselves that aren't who we are, and we're used to seeing it every day. And then when someone says something in a complimentary fashion, and they say something, really kind or uplifting about you, then it's hard to believe it because it's not what you're used to seeing. You have been holding on to those beliefs for so long that they've become a part of your identity, and you think that's who you are. But those beliefs are not who you are. Those beliefs were probably installed during childhood. Someone said something, a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, a sibling. They made a statement. And when you're a child, you're in what's called high theta brainwave patterns. And theta brainwave patterns are the same as what you're experiencing during dream sleep and hypnosis, where everything feels real. And you can't you can't differentiate between fantasy and reality. It's all real to you. And children are making unconscious decisions, forming beliefs about themselves that are the same as like what we are doing when we're in dream sleep and hypnosis. It's not based on what's really happening. These are unconscious beliefs. And then during childhood, 95 to 99% of who you are, your personality, is developed. And then what begins to take place is all of these beliefs and these decisions that you have made, they fire together and they wire together in your brain. And then those beliefs and all of those thoughts are what determine the chemicals, right? The hormones that you are secreting throughout your body. And then those hormones are what make you feel the things that you feel. And those feelings and emotions become so real to us that we begin to identify with them. And we believe that, well, those thoughts must be true because this is how I feel. And just like that reflection in the mirror, it's not really who you are. It's just what you've been seeing for so long that you come to believe that it actually is true. Now, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You just have an operating system that may not be operating at its highest and best capacity. And when you can identify that that's really what's going on, then you can understand why it is that you keep getting the same results that you're getting. That understanding empowers you. I remember the first time that I came to the awareness that I wasn't a terrible father or a terrible husband just because I went through divorce. I hadn't failed and lost out on an opportunity to build a family that God was proud of. That was just something that I had believed to be true based on some feedback that didn't serve me because I went through a divorce a decade ago. And now when I'm tempted to have those thoughts, because I still make mistakes as a father of 7 children, and I've been married for almost 8 years this time, and 7 years the first time. So I got 15 years of marriage and 7 children. Like, I still make mistakes. And when I'm tempted to feel like I'm failing as a father or a husband because of those mistakes, I quickly am able to recognize that that's not who you are. You're not a terrible father. You're not failing as a husband. There's nothing wrong with you, Andrew. You just need to make some changes. You need to see yourself as the loving and loyal dad that you are to your kids, who shows up. You need to see yourself as a supportive and endearing husband who is doing everything that he can to take care of her needs and help her to take care of her needs as well. And when I'm able to see myself in that light, then my behaviors aren't me. That's not who I am. That's just how I happened to show up in that moment. And when I can step away and see myself in that light, then I can make different decisions. Because that's not me. That's not me. That's one of the things I say when I'm feeling tempted to feel terrible about myself. That's not me. And once you can do that, then you can make a decision to show up differently. And then you can get different results. And then those results reinforce new beliefs, new patterns, and it's literally installing a new operating system for you. And once you have that new operating system, then it becomes seamless. You're no longer having to force anything. You're becoming a force of nature. It becomes natural for you to show up that way. And when we start to do things naturally, we say, oh yeah, that's who I am. That's me. And no matter what you've been taught about who you thought you were in the past, we can change those. You can change those beliefs. And you can come to this full understanding, this full appreciation, this full realization of your highest and best self, the self that your parents saw when they held you as a new baby. For those of you that have ever been parents, or you are parents, or you've had parents, which is all of us, there's that moment where you hold that infant, this perfect, beautiful little child that has just come here to earth, and you literally think, nothing could make this moment better. This perfect little creation. And that's how I see people when we go through this breakthrough session. When we're able to let go of all of the limiting beliefs that we've been holding on to, when we're able to lean into and learn from the emotions that have been holding us back, the inappropriate and unwarranted anger and sadness, all of the fear, the hurt, the guilt and the shame, when we can learn from those and begin to make new choices about who we are and recognize that those emotions no longer serve us. They may have from a place of, unconscious survival, but you're not living in a state of survival anymore. You're not running a life from your unconscious mind without bringing total and complete awareness to every decision you make. When we are able to raise our level of consciousness, when we can become an observer and see what we're doing and recognize that that's not who we are, then we become a higher version of ourselves. We become truly an observer. And we're not just in the game, we're actually watching it, and we're making choices that are influencing how the game plays out. We're like calling new plays, and we're inviting the players to do things differently rather than feeling like we're just in it and we're reacting all the time. It was Viktor Frankl who said, between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space lies our power to choose. And in our choice is where we find our freedom. And we're all free. We're free to make those choices between stimulus when something happens and how we respond. But the ability to widen that space and have more time, to have more energy, to have more conscious awareness is determined by our ability to stop thoughts that no longer serve us, to make new ones, and to recognize that that's not me. That's just how I have been programmed to show up in this world. So what's wrong with you? Nothing. Nothing's wrong with you. You are creative. You are resourceful. And you are whole. You are a whole being created from love. And figuring out how to realign with that love and be the highest and best version that you know that you are. It just takes a little bit of tweaking, just some thoughts that need to be readjusted so that you can feel things that maybe you haven't felt in a very, very long time, so that you can begin to take actions that you know you would like to be taking and stop some that aren't serving you so that you can get the results that you've always been looking for. And once you get those results, they are evidence. They testify of the power of the potential that's within you. And then you'll be able to say, yeah, there is nothing wrong with me. I just had to change the way I look at things. And when you change the way you look at things, whether it's the mirror or the picture, then the things you look at change. And you can do that. You can get new results. You can see things in a whole new light, experiencing life as it's meant to be experienced. You've got that in you. There is nothing wrong with you, except the thought that there is something wrong with you. We can get rid of that thought. Hopefully this has helped you to do that. You are powerful beyond measure. You have strength within you. And when we can get rid of all the stuff that's hindering you from being in that state, that strong state of empowerment, then game over. You can be and do and have anything that you desire. I trust that this is helpful for you. Have a beautiful day.